Hello everyone, it's Judy from Coffee Cookies and Books, and what I'm bringing you today is our first set of book releases for the year of 2026. Now it's January, not as many, but still a great crop of books. I'm sure you're going to want to stick around. Can't even believe it. Can you believe it? January 2026. Yes. So we are now into the new year, and I have the book releases for the month of January. Now, there are not as many as usual. A lot of times, especially in the heavy publishing months, I can get a good 40 to 60 books easy. Now, I'm not exactly sure the number that are on this list, but I would say it might be closer to 30, 35, somewhere in around there. But still, a great crop of books coming out in January. So our first date that we're going to look at is January 6th. So for the 6th of January, there's only 4 books coming out. Not unexpected because it is the beginning of the new year. So the first book that we have is The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. Now I have several of her books, including The Villa, which is actually quoted on this cover. This is, it says, a thrilling new gothic suspense set in a Gulf Coast beach motel where hurricane season can be murder. So I thought that sounded fantastic. I don't want to read too much. We'll just read the first paragraph of the synopsis because I find a lot of times it gives it away, right? St. Medard's Bay, Alabama is famous for 3 things: the deadly hurricanes that regularly sweep into town, the Rosalie Inn, a century-old hotel that survived every one of those storms, and Lo Bailey, the local girl infamously accused of the murder of her lover, political scion Landon Fitzroy, during Hurricane Marie in 1984. So then it's going to go on to obviously current and all that sort of thing. So I think that sounds fantastic. Is it rated under thriller? Yeah, it says psychological thriller, spy thriller. So this is one that I myself would be interested in. And yeah, January 6th release. Thought that sounded great. So as usual, I am putting the covers up for you. Next one is The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. And again, I think this is another mystery thriller, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, well, it says domestic life in women's fiction, family life, and suspense. So it does have a bit of a suspense element. It says Laura Dave continues Hannah Hall's pulse-pounding journey in the riveting and deeply moving sequel to the #1 bestseller, The Last Thing He Told Me. So this is a continuation of that story. How far would you go for a second chance? 5 years after her husband Owen disappeared, Hannah Hall and her stepdaughter Bailey have settled into a new life in Southern California. Together, they've forged a relationship with Bailey's grandfather Nicholas and are putting the past behind them. But when Owen shows up at Hannah's new exhibition, she knows that she and Bailey are in danger again. So, yeah, I haven't read the first book. I was going to pick it up. I think I was going to pick it up in the book outlet sale, and I just never got around to grabbing it. So I would want to grab that first and read that first before I'd want to go into this one. But I'm sure there are a lot of people that are waiting for this one. Yeah, really great. Okay, so that's that one. And then our next one is The Swan's Daughter, possibly doomed love story by Roshani Chokshi, I think is how it's pronounced. And it is a fairy tale folklore for young adults, so YA, fantasy romance, YA. In this lush and enchanting novel, a prince's only as good as his beating heart, and a maiden is only as good as her honest word. But when love and the truth become impossibly tangled, the two must figure out how to survive together or fall completely apart. Now, it does not say that this is part of a series as I'm reading through this, so it could very well be a standalone, which is great. It's always nice to have a fantasy that is a standalone. So that one, again, January 6th. Next one, and the last one for the 6th of January, is The Odds of You by Kate Dramis. And this one is romantic comedy, romance, and contemporary romance. So it says, this book made me remember why I fell in love with reading. By B. Celeste is the tagline. Once is chance, twice is fate. Sage Collin knows a thing or two about odds. A year ago, she was a data analyst until she burned it all down to pursue her dream of becoming an author. One whirlwind bestseller and a struggling second book later, and Sage isn't sure she'll ever write a novel again. But then an accidental encounter with an irritating passenger on the flight to Comic-Con leaves Sage in an untested position. The passenger is Theo Sharp, a breakout actor on the cusp of fame, and unfortunately the paparazzi have mistaken her for his girlfriend. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun and a really good romance. All right, so that moves us on to our next selections, which are the 13th of January. So we have 11 books for the 13th of January, and we're going to start with A Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. So she is the author of First Lie Wins. This is a tense, feverish thriller about two women's lives that are forever entwined when a murder threatens to expose them both. It says, everyone at Chantilly's bar noticed out-of-towner Camille Bayliss, red lips, designer heels, sipping a Negroni. But that woman wasn't Camille Bayliss. It was Aubrey Price. Interesting. So I love the way that starts. I think it sounds fantastic. It does basically say that it is a suspense and a thriller. So now I have not read First Lie Wins. I do have it. And I had it on one of my TBRs and just had too many books to read. Didn't get to it, but I would like to read that one. So, so I wouldn't pick this one up until I've read that because, with thriller authors, you always like to read at least one or two of their books to get a feel for how their books go. And when they're not, they're going to be your cup of tea. But I do like the sound of that one. Next one I have is Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. Now this is, what's it rated under? Italian history, historical fantasy, romantic fantasy. It says this is her adult debut, a gorgeous historical and romantic fantasy that will leave readers breathless for more. This stunning edition includes a gorgeous cover printed over foil with a custom two-color map and papers, pink gilded edges, and a full foil custom case stamp. So that is what's available if you order it in advance, not cheap. The Canadian price is $43, so pretty expensive. It said she was never meant to be seen. Now she's a weapon the world can't ignore. As a sculptress, Ravenna Maffei, I hope I'm saying that correctly, has always shaped beauty from stone, but she has a terrible secret. Desperate to save her brother, she enters a competition hosted by Florence's most feared immortal family, revealing a dark power in a city where magic is forbidden. Now a captive in the cutthroat city of Florence, Ravenna is forced into a dangerous task where failure meets certain death at the hands of Saturnian Saturnino. Oh, don't even. Like, okay. Deluni, the immortal family's mesmerizing but merciless heir. But as he draws her closer, Ravenna realizes the true threat lies beyond Florence's walls. So, yeah, very interesting. Don't even, like, just call him Sat. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Anyway, so that is that one. Next one is A Vow of Vengeance, is the part of the Immortal Desire series by Jaclyn Rodriguez. So I don't know how many books are in the series. Looks like just one, so this might be the first book. And it is romantic suspense or romantasy. What is it? Fantasy romance, new adult and college romance, futuristic and ghost romance. So looks like it's new adult. Deadly tarot, wicked schemes, dangerous alliances. Can you survive the forge? And it's a sexy, action-packed, and brimming with magic. A Vow of Vengeance is an unputdownable romantasy debut from Jaclyn Rodriguez. So it says the tropes are enemies to lovers, dark academia, fake fated mates, forced proximity, snark and banter, toucher and die, and tarot. So those are all the tropes. This is like a boatload of tropes in there. Okay. All right. So that's that one. Next one on the list is a contemporary romance called Most Eligible by Isabel Engel. And it says The Bachelor meets Funny You Should Ask in this laugh-out-loud rom-com debut about a journalist who goes on a reality TV only to find her country music star one-night stand is the host. That sounds like a good one. That's a good romance for you. Okay, next one. A killer kind of romance. So this one is, it says it's humor and satire. So obviously it's a rom-com again, but in this new romance, it is a killer kind of romance by Letizia Lorini. Hope I pronounced that right. Never get these names right. In this new romance, a crime podcast host must solve a chilling serial killer case while navigating an unexpected romance with her mysterious next-door neighbor. Scarlett Moore doesn't do romance. She's made a name for herself narrating gritty crime fiction on a serial podcast. But when her boss hands her the reins to the network's romance show, Scarlett finds herself neck-deep in swoony love stories on top of her usual murder plot. Then someone begins reenacting the chilling crimes she discusses on air, down to the last twisted detail. So it says, will this be a love story she never saw coming, or is it a killer kind of romance? So I'm wondering if the guy is a serial killer. Hard to say on that one. Sounds good though. Next one is Darkrooms by Rebecca Hannigan, and this one is listed under thriller and mystery thriller suspense, women sleuths. So a lush and moody mystery, Darkrooms is gripping and atmospheric as two women wrestle with guilt and injustice. Two unforgettable women investigate the disappearance of a missing girl in a small Irish town brimming with secrets in this haunting debut from new crime writing talent. Perfect for the fans of Tana French and Flynn Barry. So that's that one. Then we have The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summerlee. This is book one of the Callisto Chronicles. So looks like it's going to be a series. And this is definitely fantasy. It says paranormal and urban. It says a vampire hunter goes undercover at a mysterious university and finds herself falling in love with her roommate, an alluring vampire, in book one of a seductive sapphic paranormal fantasy. So there you go on that one. Lots of good choices, and it seems like a fairly good variety of books. Next one is Inside Man by John McMahon. It says, in this sequel to McMahon's electrifying series debut, Head Cases, Gardner Camden and the Parr team return to investigate potential connected cases. So this is obviously following FBI agent and investigation. So I don't know, what does Parr stand for? Does it even say? No, it doesn't say what Parr stands for. Oh, here it is. Patterns and Recognition Unit. The FBI's hidden edge, brought in for cases that no one else can solve. So there we go. Just had to read on a little bit further, and I got that one. Ay vey. Me. Next one is A Barista's Guide to Love and Larceny by Carolyn Bonin. This is teen and YA, so I believe it's a young adult. This is a cozy fantasy romance, combines magic, first love, and college life into a sweetly rude and delicious read about a girl roped into investigating a company's dangerous product, perfect for fans of coffee shop in an alternate universe. So there's that one. Doesn't have anything else except for the full synopsis, which I don't like to read those because I find that gives it away. And sometimes people just don't want to go into a book knowing too much from the back, right? Then we have Sheer by Vanessa Lawrence. So this is LGBTQ 2S plus literature and fiction, and it is told over 9 charged days. Sheer is the gripping tale of a controversial beauty mogul's insatiable ambition and the slippery ground between empowerment and abuse of power. That actually sounds interesting. It is in the world of makeup, obviously, with the cover. The cover is actually quite, gives away exactly what's on the inside, right? So there's that one. That is one that I could see Aardvark covering. They tend to have books like this, feature books like this, so I could totally see it. And with January 13th release, that could be one potentially for January. And the last one for January, which is another LGBTQ2S+, literature and fiction, is This A Cry for Help by Emily Austin. So it is Darcy's life. No, what is this? Oh, sorry. A luminous new novel following a librarian who comes back to work after a mental breakdown only to confront book banning crusaders in an empowering story of grief, love, and the power of libraries. Now, there's one that is an interesting topic. I've actually never heard of anything like this. It sounds like there's quite a bit of social commentary in this one, as well as being LGBTQ+. So, yeah. So that is the last one for the 13th of January. So now we're on to the date that has the most releases, which is January 20th. We have a ton of books to get through for the 20th. It is the biggest publishing date for the month of January. And there are a few in here that I think sound interesting. There are a few in here that I know that people are waiting for. Yeah, and this first one, definitely a lot of people are excited for it. And that is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. So, of course, this is thriller suspense. Psychological thriller. Now, I read her last book, which was Beautiful Ugly, and I didn't love it, but it was mostly because I didn't like the characters in it. particularly didn't care for them, but I didn't mind her writing. And I really did like the ending of that particular book. So I might try this one again. We'll see. I'm kind of hoping maybe it'll come up as a January book of the month, because Beautiful Ugly was a book of the month that I grabbed. So if it does, then the likelihood is that I would pick it up. If not, I might wait to see if down the road it comes up on book of the month. But anyways, enough about me. Let's get on with the book. And this says, Eden Fox, an artist on the brink of her big break, sets off for a run before her first exhibition. When she returns to the home she recently moved into, Spyglass, an enchanting old house in Hope Falls, nothing is as it should be. Her key doesn't fit. A woman eerily similar to her answers the door, and her husband insists that the stranger is his wife. One house, one husband, two women, someone is lying. So 6 months earlier, Londoner called Bertie, reeling from life-changing diagnosis, inherits Spyglass. This unexpected gift from a long-lost grandmother brings her to the pretty seaside village of Hope Falls. But then Bertie stumbles upon a shadowy London clinic that claims to be able to predict a person's date of death, including her own. Secrets start to unravel, and as the line between truth and lies blurs, Bertie feels compelled to right some old wrongs. So it is a tangled web of deception, obsession, and mystery. So that is that one, My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. That's the first one that I have for the 20th. So the next one for the 20th is also one that I'm assuming many people who are fans of the Dresden Files would be looking for this one. Now, this is like action adventure, mystery, suspense. It is 12 Months by Jim Butcher, and this is the 18th book in the Dresden Files series. 1 year, 365 days, 12 months. Harry Dresden has been through a lot, so has his city. After Harry and his allies narrowly managed to save Chicago from being razed to the ground, everything is different, and it's not just the current lack of electricity. So I don't want to read on any further. Anybody who's following this series, I do have, I think, the first few books that are in the series, and I do want to get to those, but of course I don't want to read on until I've read those and that I know I like it. I have a feeling I'm going to like it from all the sound of it, but we shall see going forward. So anyways, that is that one. The next one is again from another popular author. It is A Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James. So this is thrillers under thrillers and suspense. It says it's chillingly creepy setting which previously appeared in the Sundown Motel of 2020 to a nerve-jangling plot that effectively borrows from a mix of genres to the writing itself. So this is just the blurb on it. Simone St. James returns with her scariest, most shocking novel yet in this pulse-pounding story about siblings who return to the house they fled 18 years before, called back by the ghost of their long-missing brother and his haunting request, come home. I will leave it at that. Yeah, that sounds kind of creepy, right? A little bit. Okay, next one is romance, and this is Catch Her If You Can by Tessa Bailey. So this is the 5th book in the Big Shots series. It looks like it's the final one, 5th and final, and this is a series of interconnected standalone romances. I don't read Tessa Bailey's romances. They are contemporary romance, and this one is sports romance. So this is a Madden Donahue, the newest catcher for the Yankees, has been in love with Eve Mitchell since high school. But for some mysterious reason, their burlesque club owner always turns him down. That never stopped him from being her self-appointed protector. Case in point, now that Eve's sister has left Eve with 2 children indefinitely, Madden steps in with a proposition. Marry him for the much-needed health benefits. So it sounds like a marriage of convenience. Yes. Anyway, I will leave it at that. Doesn't list any tropes or anything. But anybody who's a fan of Tessa Bailey is probably waiting for this one if they have been reading the entire series. Okay, next one. Romance is Dead. The funny and spicy enemies to lovers rom-com debut from Katie Bone. It says, roses are red, violets are blue, romance is dead, but is their love true? Scream Queen Quinn has had it with scary movies. After years as Hollywood's horror it girl, she's sick of the tabloids and off-screen drama, so she's decided one last film before quitting for good. All that stands in her way is leading man Teddy James. Reality TV star and renowned playboy Teddy has looks to kill for, but absolutely no talent, aka Quinn's worst nightmare. Sounds like it's going to be fun. It doesn't list any tropes or anything like that either, but yeah. And you gotta love the cover. I love the cover. It just looks great. Next one is The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Soto Yambo. So she wrote Water Moon, which I have not read yet, but I do have it on my TBR. And this one is mythical and folktale, fairy tale, literary fiction is what it's listed under. And step on board the train that may take you to your life's purpose in this wistful, Ghibli-esque fantasy from the best-selling author of Watermoon. You can't buy a ticket for the Elsewhere Express, appearing only to those whose lives are adrift. It's a magical train seeming to carry very rare and special cargo, a sense of purpose, peace, and belonging. Rhea is one of those lost souls. She has dreamed of being a songwriter, but when her brother died, she gave up on her dream and started living his instead. One day on the subway, as her thoughts wander, she's swept off to the Elsewhere Express. There she meets Q, an intriguing artist who, like her, has lost his place in the world. Together, they find a train full of wonders, from a boarding car that's also a meadow, to a dining car where passengers can picnic on lily pads, to a bar where jellyfish and whales swim through pink clouds. So it sounds lovely. Doesn't sound like something I would specifically read, but then I would probably wait to see what I thought of Watermoon and where that was concerned. Anyways, that was that. I thought that sounded great, and that's another author that people would probably be interested in reading that, particularly if they liked Watermoon. So next one is Room 706 by Ellie Levinson. And this one is rated under domestic life in women's fiction, family life. So it is definitely women's literary fiction. A woman married is trapped with her lover in a hotel under siege. If she knew it would end this way, would it ever have begun? So essentially this woman is cheating and she's stuck in a room with him. She has kids and yeah. So this could be an interesting one if you really like women's literary fiction. You'd have to be okay with the cheating trope, obviously. Some people are not, but yeah. The next one is one I know I've heard quite a few people mention, which is The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. Perfect for fans of Daisy Jones and the Six, a beautiful, powerful, and transportive novel about a music executive desperately trying to bring a rock band back from the brink. Best love stories are the ones you don't expect. When record executive Theo meets the Future Saints, they're bombing at a dive bar in their hometown. Since the tragic death of their manager, the band has been on a downward spiral, and Theo has been dispatched to coax a new and successful album out of them, or else let them go. So that's that one. It's listed under literary fiction. Next one, Cross Your Heart and Hope He Dies by Jenny Elder Moki. Hobnobbing with Seattle's elite on a super yacht, Juliet Winters is about to land the deal of the century if she doesn't get arrested first. She doesn't have a clue. Author Jenny Elder Moki returns with another riotous mystery rom-com that delights in rich people behaving badly. I guess that says it all, right? Yeah, pretty much. Even the cover's cute. Next one, Fruit of the Flesh by I.V. Ophelia. And this is psychological horror, looks like. Behind the glamour of Gilded Age New York, a marriage of convenience between an artisan and a ballerina masks their shared appetite for revenge in this darkly seductive gothic romance. Yeah, that one does sound interesting, doesn't it? Psychological horror, Gilded Age historical romance, dark romance. So it kind of combines a few different things in there. That sounds interesting. Yeah. What was the previous book? I thought she had another one that just recently came out that was fantasy, like very specifically fantasy, but can't recall the title of it. Next one, The Fair Weather Friend by Jessie Garcia. This is a suspense thriller. The next gripping domestic suspense novel from Jessie Garcia. It's Always Sunny in Detroit for Faith Richards, the popular TV meteorologist, endearingly referred to as the Fairweather Friend by her viewers, has the world by the tail. But one night, Faith leaves work on a dinner break and never returns. Her body is found the next morning. We'll leave it at that. That sounds like a good one. If you like thrillers and it's suspense, which I do, for sure. Okay. Next one, Just Watch Me by Lior Tornberg, which is, looks like general fiction coming of age. And Fleabag meets Big Swiss in this bold debut about a charismatic misfit who live streams her life for 7 days and nights to raise money to save her comatose sister. A poignant and darkly funny exploration of grief, forgiveness, and redemption. That one, it's unusual cover. The cover looks childish. That's just my view when I look at it, but perhaps that plays into the story somehow because it says it's coming of age. So, next one, No One Would Do What the Lamberts Have Done by Sophie Hannah. This is, I think it's just general fiction. Family life, literary fiction. And it says, the twistiest murder mystery you are ever likely to read, a story about a family that does the unthinkable, both or something else altogether. You think it will never happen to you. The doorbell, the policeman, the words that turn your world inside out. I'm afraid there's been an incident. For Sally Lambert, those words mean only one thing, danger. Not just for her family, but for Champ, their loyal and beloved dog. A single accusation, a neighbor's grudge, and suddenly the Lamberts are trapped in a nightmare with no escape, unless they make one. Okay, so it sounds like, it's literary fiction, obviously has some suspense elements built into it as well. Next one is The Poet Empress by Shen Chao, and this is she says general fiction, horror, dark fantasy. Debut author Shen Chao introduces readers to the lush, deadly world of The Poet Empress, a sweeping, epic, and intimate fantasy perfect for fans of The Serpent and the Wings of Night, The Song of Achilles, and She Who Became the Sun. Wei Yin is desperate after the fifth death of a sibling, with her and her family and village on the brink of starvation, she would do anything to save those she loves, even offer herself as a concubine to the cruel, desolate heir of the blood-gutted Azalea House, where poetry magic is power, but women are forbidden to read. This sounds like it blends a certain amount of Chinese folklore into it a little. Yeah. Next one is Dead Fake, a Bleak Haven novel, which is one of two. So I don't know if this has a cliffhanger or not. Welcome to Bleak Haven. This is by Vincent Ralph. All right. Welcome to Bleak Haven, the town you won't or can't leave. Deep fake murders have taken over the high school. But what happens when they start to become real? Would you swipe or die? When the new craze takes over Bleak Haven High, Ava Wilson refuses to join in. As the niece of an infamous murderer, it's the last thing she needs. The mysterious website allows people to view their own death, an AI-generated version of their final slasher movie moments. But when some of her classmates' deepfakes are replicated in real life, Ava can either catch the killer or be the next victim. This one actually sounds pretty good. It says it's teen and YA, but sci-fi fantasy. Love the cover. Love the cover. Super creepy. Okay. And the last one for the 20th is Butterfly Games by Kelly Scarborough. And this is literary fiction, 19th century historical fiction, biographical, and autofiction coming of age. For fans of Philip Gregory and Alice Pataki, a debut biographical historical novel about a young Swedish countess whose youthful love affair with the heir to her country's throne has profound personal and political repercussions. In some games, winning means losing everything that matters. Interesting one there. Okay, so that is it for the 20th. So the last date that we have with a bit of a smaller group is January 27th. So we are on to our last date, which is January 27th. We only have 7 books for the 27th and ending off the month nicely. So the first one is another Frida McFadden called Dear Debbie. Sometimes enough is enough. Debbie Mullen is losing it. For years, she has compiled all of her best advice into her column, Dear Debbie, where the wives of New England come for sympathy and neighborly advice. Through her work, Debbie has heard from countless women who are ignored, belittled, or even abused by their husbands. And Debbie does her best to guide them in the right direction, or at least she did. These days, Debbie's life seems to be spiraling out of control. She lost her job, something strange is happening with her teenage daughters, and her husband is keeping secrets. According to the tracking app she installed on his phone, now Debbie's done being the bigger person. She's done being reasonable and practical. It's time to take her own advice. There we go. Everybody knows. Suspense Frida. So that's that one. We Who Have No Gods by Liza Anderson. So this is paranormal and urban fantasy. I don't know if it's romance. Let me just check. It doesn't say romance anywhere in any of the tags. It's by, I think I said Liza Anderson. In a world of witches, a human woman must hunt or be hunted in this explosive debut novel filled with dangerous rivals, guarded secrets, and simmering chemistry. Oh, so it sounds like it might have some romance built in there. It says Vic Wood has her priorities, scrape by on her restaurant wages, takes care of her younger brother Henry, and forgets their mother ever existed. But Vic's careful life crumbles when she discovers that their long-missing mother belonged to the Acarian Order, a secret society of witches tasked with keeping the dead at bay. What's worse, Henry inherited their mother's magical abilities while Vic did not, and he has been chosen as the Order's newest recruit. So we'll leave it at that. Interesting. Next one, The Wolf and the Crown of Blood. This says it's book 1 of The Broken Accords by Elizabeth May. So sounds like it's going to be a series. It says a princess and a war-weary god meet in the ashes of a broken city, forging a pact in blood and sacrifice. Now, centuries of fragile peace are on the brink of collapse. A thrilling and incredibly sexy new romantasy series from best-selling author Elizabeth May. It says it's inspired by Beauty and the Beast and Eros and Psyche. This dark, seductive tale is perfect for fans of Raven Kennedy's Played a Prisoner series, with the wit and spice of Callie Hart's Quicksilver, packed with dark fairy tale vibes, gothic romance, and tropes like enemies to lovers, forced proximity, death pacts, and villain gets the girl. This is a story where love is as deadly as it is irresistible. So that's actually a really good paragraph right there. Sums up the book without having to read the whole synopsis and give away the farm, right? So that is that one. Next one is The Unwritten Rules of Magic by Harper Ross. And this one is, doesn't have anything here. Just says genre fiction, family life, literature and fiction for fans, The Midnight Library, and in 5 years, The Unwritten Rules of Magic is a spellbinding novel that blends magic and memory in an unforgettable journey through love, grief, and the hidden cost of perfection across 3 generations of women. So, sounds like women's lit. And the next one is The House Will Feed by Maria Tarode. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, so I apologize if that's wrong. It says, amidst the devastation of Ireland's Great Famine, a young woman is salvaged from certain death when offered a mysterious position at a remote manor house haunted by a strange power, and the horror of her own memories in this chillingly evocative historical novel braided with gothic horror and supernatural suspense. So, yeah, it's definitely historical because the Great Famine was the potato famine, I believe, in Ireland. Okay, so that's that. And then Last First Kiss by Julian Winters. So this is definitely gay romance, LGBTQ plus, and the stuff romance dreams are made of. Sparks fly in this second chance rom-com when an unlucky in-love event planner realizes the man of honor at the high-profile wedding he's planning is the same man who broke his heart. So definitely second chance romance. Any tropes listed? No, nothing else listed, but that is that one. Next one is, this is actually the last one of the whole collection for January, is Silver and Blood. It is a spellbinding romantasy of enchanted forests, hidden powers, and forbidden attraction in a magical kingdom. On a deadly mission to kill the mythical beast that has been haunting her woods, a desperate mage finds her fate intertwined with the handsome, powerful man who saves her in this dark and sexy romantasy. Perfect for readers of Jennifer L. Armentrout, Callie Hart, and Holly Black. There's something in the woods. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Does it have anything at the bottom? No, it does not have anything, but it is obviously two of them. Beautiful cover. Did I say Jesse Mahalik? That's who wrote that one. Yeah, I'm terrible. So I always forget. I forget either the title or I forget the author. That's because there's so many of them. It's like, and I'm just moving bang, bang, bang from one to the other. Anyway, so that is it for our January releases. Not as many as usual. I'd still say there was like a good 35 at least there. I'm expecting, that it will obviously improve as the year goes on. I think December and January do tend to be a little bit on the lighter side because the holidays and everything like that. So that's it. I think this video is going to go up before Christmas. So I hope all of you have a wonderful holiday season and that you will be sticking around for what I have coming in 2026. I'm hoping that it's going to be a fantastic year with a lot of fantastic videos about books. So that's it for today, and we'll see you in the next video.